It's Brendan Alexander, and I have a family friend, Billy Kimbrough, and we're going to interview him for our management MBA class. And so, Billy, if you could start off by just kind of saying the industry, job, and approximate number of employees you manage.
Okay. Thanks, Brendan. I'm Billy Kimbrough. I'm the area general manager for Gulf States Toyota here in Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've got 31 years of automotive experience, 13 with Nissan and 18 with Toyota. I've managed as many as 75 people. I have at least whittled it down to 6 now. As I get a little older, that's a little easier to manage. But I have a team of 6, and our job is to work with the 28 dealers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are Toyota dealers, help them with their parts, cars, and service, and everything related to your relationship with a dealership.
Cool. Which, speaking of like the 75 versus 6, is personal preference. If you like doing the 75, or do you like now the 6? Or
I had a call center with 75, and so there were a lot of layers of management. It wasn't like I had to manage 75 people, but I managed like 2 people who managed 4 people who managed the rest of them, and it was probably one of my most fascinating jobs. It was one of my more interesting jobs because I enjoyed setting it up, and I enjoyed watching the relationship of 75 young people that were making phone calls outbound to customers. So it was very interesting.
Very nice. So we're just gonna go off a few questions here. First question I'm gonna ask is, do you feel proficient at identifying various types of intelligence, skills, or strengths within individuals? Do you select, place, and/or develop individuals with this in mind? If so, how?
Well, I think, there's always the right person for the right job, right? And so I think it's important that you find the personalities that reflect your industry. I think it's important that you find the personalities that reflect your customer base. And I think it's important that the group gets along and understands what the dynamic results should be. It's important that everybody's on the same page, and it's important that all the customers and all your people kind of relate to each other. So I believe it's important. The relationship piece is as important as your knowledge base. I think if you have people that have worked in the industry and understand the industry and can work with the customers and can work with their coworkers, I think you can get as far with that as anything else.
Okay, great advice. Another question, as far as your different areas of intelligence, do you find it more important to develop your weaknesses or double down on your strengths?
You always want to say double down on your strengths, but we should all be working on our weaknesses. 31 years into this deal, and I'm still trying to work on my weaknesses. And I think if you ever give up or not give up or just not pay attention to your weaknesses, you're not going to improve. Strengths are great. That's what we have, and we always want to fall back on those. We always want to fall back on those. But I think when you look at your weaknesses, you have a lot better chance of making a difference, of changing, especially a company. You can change a company by working on your weaknesses, because everybody has them. There's nothing wrong with them. And as soon as you identify what your personal weaknesses are, you're going to get better. And if everybody does that, the company gets better. And I think that's the most important thing. So like I said, I think we all tend to fall back on, hey, I'm gonna use my strengths, but that's not always what's best for the entire company or the entire group that you work in.
Now, what about placing the people underneath you? Would you put them in that strength area of theirs, or would you sometimes maybe have them switch into those weaknesses?
A lot of times we hire people because of their strengths, because they meet us. We can reflect with them. We can see it. We can see a younger us. We can see us in them. But if they're going to advance with the company, if they're going to advance in the industry, they're going to have to work on their weaknesses. Everybody's got them, and I know we hire. In probably every interview, we're looking for strengths, but we also need to find those people that will understand they have a weakness and work on it. Because if you can get both, if you can get somebody that says, I know my strengths and I'm working on my weaknesses, you probably have the ideal associate.
Okay. And then another question, what do you feel is the primary source of job satisfaction?
Job satisfaction is about comfort and confidence. I think people want to know that their manager has their back. I think I've always said there's three things that you want to be as a manager. There's three C's. You want to be committed. You want to be consistent. You want to communicate. I'm gonna give you four, and you got to care. Care being the most important one. Care. If you're a manager, if you're leading people, you have to care. And I work for a tremendous family-owned company that caring comes first. And when you care, it trickles down through the entire organization. When family comes first and they understand it's not just a business, you'll find that your people will hold on longer, they will do more things for you. When you're consistent, they understand as a manager, when you're consistent, that you're not gonna stab them in the back, you're not gonna turn on them. As a manager, you have to strive to advance your people. If you're not doing that, you're just doing this for yourself, and I think that's a weakness. Going back to your weakness, if you're just doing it for yourself, so you need to make sure you're consistent, and you need to communicate. It's such an easy word, and it's such a hard thing to do, but if you do that, your people will trust you, and when they trust you, they'll do anything for you. And when you work for a company that has that kind of commitment, that has that kind of communication, and looks after their people, and they care, again, you found the right company. You found the right associates. It's three very easy C's, three very hard things to do.
Perfect. We're going to do one more question. How important do you feel personality plays in being successful? Which traits do you believe are the most impactful?
Personality is a funny thing. We all have one, and we're all different. And I think that personalities fit certain job descriptions better than others. But I've always wanted a personality that was upbeat. I work for Toyota. We sell cars. You want to be upbeat. We have a great brand with people who know what they're doing. So upbeat always helps. So you do want positive. None of us want to work with people that drag you down, but you also got to have those analytical people who sometimes aren't as outgoing as others. And they're just as important as the personality people. It's not all just a personality game. So I think it's all important that you have a mix of those. And I can't say that personality is the most important thing, because I think it always gets back to, can you do the job? And how do you get the job done? And do you do the job effectively, efficiently, and timely?
Perfect. I guess just any other final words, just through your years of experience as a manager, that you'd like to say?
No, I used to laugh. I used to tell people, Brendan, that I always wanted to be a manager, and you forget that being a manager comes with a lot of things they didn't teach you in B school, right? They didn't teach you this in business school. They didn't teach you the personal issues and some of the things that happen behind the scenes. And it goes back to what I said about caring. You have to care for your people. And just being a manager is not about title. It's about leading. It's about developing people. It's about making them better. It's about making their careers better. And when you strive for that, you'll be the best manager you can be.
Well, I appreciate Billy sitting down with me and answer those questions, and just kind of giving some of your advice through all those years.
Oh, thanks. I'm honored that you asked me. Thank you, Brandon.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.